and prevent us all from being weak and scared and afraid. No, that's not abadan. No. If it's that dangerous and that deathful, then there are other alternatives. You're forcing a Muslim to take a vaccine to do something. If you want to do it, no problem. Don't kill yourselves. Tie your camel, put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many texts in Quran and Sunnah. If you feel that way, honestly, that's fine. But forcing and abusing people, belittling people, that's a problem. And obviously that's from the beginning of the pandemic. People forcing their views on others. If you don't do this, then you're automatically this. Almost time. That's right. The Prophet says, if you want, be patient. You have paradise. And if not, and there are many texts like this. I mean, it's an issue among the ulama of Islam. Does a Muslim have to take medicine? Do you have to go to the doctors? And if you read about that issue, you'll be shocked what you'll find. They don't just say, no, you have to. Many of them will say, if you want to, go ahead. And if not, I'm patient. Wallahu a'lam. Tayyib. First question is coming from Melbourne, Australia. And this was E.N. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. Is a person giving and the person taking riba equally sinful and fall into major sin? The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, "Wahum sawa." They're all equal. He who eats, gives it, takes it, writes it, etc., etc., etc. That's firstly. Secondly is, some scholars, some, not all, have allowed certain dealings with riba, and they've made a difference between taking and giving. And they said that a person who eats from it is worse off than the one who has to pay it or pay a fine, etc. for it. So there could be a difference, but the hadith clearly says, "Whum sawa." Allah knows best. IR from Sydney, Australia. Salam Sheikh, what books in English would you recommend for beginning students of Aqidah? I heard that apparently a guide to sound creed by Sheikh Salih Fawzan is good. There are many good books, many summarized books. You want a book that's small in size and easy in wording. Those are the one-two punch. Small size, easy wording. There's some books which are big and easy, and there's some books which are small and difficult in wording. You want easy and small. But in the light, there are many from among the books that are available. Off the top of my head, I would say if Darus Salam's their catalog is pretty excellent. Darus Salam's catalog is pretty excellent. They have small books, they have bigger books, many different translations. Alhamdulillah. Wallahu alam. Tayyib. Initials NY from Toronto, Canada. Salam Sheikh, if a wife has doubt her husband is cheating because he has done previously and she suspects it again, can she put a spy camera in the house temporarily to make sure and remove her doubt? It's impermissible to spy on a Muslim, and it's impermissible to harbor bad thoughts against a Muslim, according to the teachings of the Quran. However, Allah says, Inna ba'd al-dhanni itham. Some suspicion, many types of suspicion, many thoughts, not all. So some things can have a basis to them, especially at previous dealings. And the Prophet told us to help our brothers, whether they're wrongdoers or whether they're being wronged. So if your brother, your husband, he previously slipped, he fell down, and you feel strongly that he's doing it again, you try to help him. But you don't do it to feed your thought and your suspicion, your wiswas, your OCD. Creating things that don't exist. That's a different issue. Wallahu alam. Initials are from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm confused on making up missed prayers. I used to think if prayers are missed, you can't pray them anymore unless you were asleep. But recently I've learned that you can. Scholars of Islam, they differ on that issue. There are two views of the ulama of Islam with regards to someone who intentionally misses a prayer. Do you make it up, or is it of no use and no value to make it up? And of course, the safest thing to do is to make up the prayers that you miss without an excuse. But the scholars of Islam, yes, some of them say what you mentioned in the question. And Allah knows best. Some ulama of Islam say that you're no longer a Muslim. May Allah protect us from that. RN from Rockville, Maryland, is someone who is has debt, but could technically ask her family members for help, permitted to take zakat money. If they're in debt and they're needy, they can take the zakat money. And Allahu A'lam, just because they can ask family members for it doesn't mean that they're not needy. Family members may make her have more debt, or may injure her, throw it in her face, etc. Wallahu A'lam. Next question is coming from Shamam, initials SC, from Jamaica, Queens, New York City. If I miss Fajr and Tahajjud when I wake up after sunrise, can I pray Fajr, then 2 rak'ah Fajr Sunnah, and then 2 rak'ah Fajr Tahajjud because I missed it? Making up voluntary prayers that you normally make is one thing. If you oversleep for witr, or you don't have time to make witr, you make the Fajr, you perform the witr afterwards, inshallah ta'ala. And Allah knows best. IA, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If someone doesn't remember whether or not they made the right amount of rak'ats or synopsis in a previous salah, do they have to reply it? The Prophet ﷺ says, وَلْيَبْنِ عَلَى مَسْتَيْقًا, and build upon that which you're certain. وَلْيَبْنِ عَلَى مَسْتَيْقَنَا, build upon that which you're certain. Whether you're sure, I'm unsure, if you have to make a 6 rak'ah, a 5th instead of 5, etc., keep it an even number, right? And building upon that which you're sure of, then afterwards make the sujood as-sahw. Wallahu a'lam, after the taslim. AW from Ontario, Canada. In school, if they are teaching evolution and biology, is it permissible to study it? If you have to study it, biology is evolution is a major part of biology. You don't have to believe in it, something to study it, to get the degree, to get the necessary, credits or whatever the case may be. And obviously, evolution is a very long discussion. AS, Abbas Langley, is it permissible to free mix in university? Jazakallah khairan. Stay away from free mixing to the best of your ability. If you have to go to school like that, put your trust in Allah and go in there with a purpose and an intention, a goal. Inshallah, may Allah protect you. MA from Bronx, New York. Does the word patience used incorrectly sometimes? For example, marriage, prolonging it. Patience is a thing. Hesitation is another thing. Patience is a thing. Procrastination is another thing. Patience is a thing. Unnecessary delay is another thing. They're not the same. Father Idris.
So going back to the question that was asked about adultery, if spying per se is not allowed, then from what I remember, there has to be a certain number of witnesses to allow the punishment for adultery. So how would do you need those amount of witnesses, and if so, how do you have people witness certain action?
With regards to spying on a Muslim and the punishment for adultery and the necessity of having 4 witnesses, etc., etc., etc. One of the wisdoms behind this is to prevent people from accusing and slandering their spouses of adultery. Just think about it now. Think if 4 witnesses weren't needed. Think if your testimony was enough. How many people would accuse their wives and their husbands? Woman gets mad at her husband. He came home too late. Or you brought me chocolate ice cream instead of vanilla ice cream. Oh, you fornicated. You're out fornicating. You cheated on me. Or you went to sleep, you snored last night. You didn't cuddle me, so therefore you cheating with another woman, etc., etc. A man would slander his wife every 5 seconds. You're unchaste. You're disobedient. You sleep with another man. You like brother Fulan. I caught you. It would become messy. Become extremely messy. And the same applies to divorce. The wisdom of only 3 divorces. And the wisdom of divorce being in the hands of the man. If there were more than 3 divorces, how many times would a man divorce his wife and take her back? Divorce, take back, divorce, take back, divorce, take back. Only 3, khalas. You only get 3 strikes. In reality, 2 strikes. 3rd strike, you're out. And the same applies to divorce being in the hand of the man. A woman gets mad, she gets upset. I'm divorced. Divorce, talaq. And then 2 hours later, 30 minutes later, take me back. I love you. I miss you. Things will become messy. So Allah is all wise. And this is one of the reasons why He made a restriction on accusing a Muslim of adultery 4 witnesses. How do you get 4 witnesses in your bedroom? When does that happen? Can it happen? That's the ruling. And that's some of the wisdom why. Wallahu alam. Next question is coming from Assalamu alaikum Mufti, YO from Ottawa, Ontario. How do I advise my family member on a problem they refuse to solve reasonably? Give them nasiha, and that's it. Show them by example. Have them talk to someone else. Maybe someone that they respect more or someone more knowledge. You can't force them. You can't coerce them to listen to you. It is a waste of time to attempt to do so. AA from London, UK. Can an Islamic government enforce not shaving, trimming the beard? Is there a punishment in the Sharia for this? Shaving the beard for a grown man is impermissible. It's unlawful. And it is an open act of disobedience to Allah and His Messenger. So therefore, an Islamic government is allowed to enforce any ruling from Quran and Sunnah. That's all from Al-Amr bil-Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. Whatever that thing may be, whatever it is. If it's established in Quran and Sunnah, then it is not only permissible for the Islamic government, but it is its job and its duty to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. As far as is there a specific punishment, then we have to understand that punishments are of different types and levels. There is had, there is ta'zir, there is jinaya, etc., etc. Everything doesn't have to have a specific proof or text for the ruler to establish a punishment for. A perfect example of this is homosexuality versus lesbianism. There are texts with regards to homosexuality and sodomy, but you won't find an authentic prophetic hadith with regards to lesbianism. So if there's the practice of lesbianism in an Islamic government, Islamically ran state or country, what is the ruler to do? It's becoming widespread. More and more women are practicing it. What is he to do? He says there's a fine, or they'll be jailed, or there'll be this, or there'll be that. It doesn't mean he's making up a new sharia. And it doesn't mean he's ruling with other than Allah sent down. But he has some room and some openness of his own ijtihad with regards to unspecified ta'zir. Understand? So, shaving the beard. If a barber is caught shaving a man's beard with a razor, he gives the barber a warning. He gives the man a ticket. If he's caught second time, he takes his license from him. What heck of that? Whatever the ruler sees fit, right? Whatever it may be from Quran and from Sunnah. I think we have to stop here for the adhan and the iqamah, if I'm not mistaken. طيب. We'll stop tonight. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.